What if I was to say to you, how many times you're going to keep going through that loop of ending up where you already are, time and time again? It's crazy. We all do it. Now, I did a video a couple of weeks ago and it went, I wouldn't say viral, but 40,000 views or something like that. And it touched a lot of people in relation to how many weeks you've got left. And this video is not so much a carry on from that, but there is one thing that I want to touch on. But before I do, last video, I asked you to see if anybody was interested in a webinar. And over 100 people have messaged me back saying webinar, webinar, webinar. I put a link below the last video and certain comments. And I'm going to put it below this video as well. Now, there is only 100 spaces, but if I have to increase that to 200, I will, because over 100 got back to me before I even advertised on this video. So again, if that's something that you want to do, go and register in the link below. And I'm going to get that straight out of the way. And in this week's video, I want to speak about settling. Settling. Now, like me, you're probably thinking, well, settling means in a negative way. Oh, we settle for this or we settle for that. And that's how I used to interpret the word settling. But recently, you know, the things that I've been reading, and I've come across something which was in that book as well. And it was speaking about how there's two ways and two versions of settling. And one of them, the second one, really opened my eyes. And that's what I want to share in this week's video. So again, wrap yourself up, get ready for this video that I'm going to speak about. And think of, when I mean settling, instantly you will think of the negative form of that. So when people talk about settling in relationships, or people speak about settling for, you know, lowering their standards, and then they just settle for the standard things that everybody else is going to be doing along the way. Now, the other form of that is you must settle in what you're doing to progress to that next level. That's another form of settling that people don't speak about. And that's what piqued my interest in that book that I was speaking about last 2 videos ago, which you all loved. It's got ridiculous views or whatever it may be. So you must have liked that topic. Now, a couple of people jumped behind me in the video. I hope they weren't too rude because I didn't see it. They were respectful. But let's relate this to trading, because most of you are trading, most of you are here for trading, right? And then I'll try and throw some life experience in there as well. So what it means by breaking it down is, when I say to you settling, you will instantly think a negative form. Like I've just said, you will think, well, oh, that you shouldn't just settle. And that's what I used to think. I used to say it to my wife all the time, I don't settle. And a lot of the time I don't settle in an area for long or in a house for long, because I feel that I should always be doing something. But what that actually does is it makes you not appreciate what you're actually doing at that moment. And you're not getting the full worth, or you're not getting the rewards of actually at that present moment. And in trading, it's very, very important that we do settle, because if we don't settle in trading, we're always going to be looking for the new strategy or the new Discord or the new video or the new book, which is a form of procrastination to get us where we need to get to. So we're not actually settling. So what piqued my interest when he said this was, you must settle in what you're actually doing now. And I was thinking, wow, I get that. I get that. So it's not settling for the lower standards. You're not lowering your standards. You're not settling for, oh, just that relationship. You're not settling because you're not, you know, putting your worth. But settling in something that you're doing right now into trading means settling into one way and one thing and one way of doing things. So what do I mean by that? Well, the bad form of settling in trading is going to be strategy hopping, quitting too early, trying it and then blaming other people and calling it a scam. That is the bad settling. And you're going to get into a rhythm, because I get some comments quite a few times in relation to, oh, trading's a scam, or prop firms don't work, or why do mentors sell courses? And this negative loop of thinking is a settling into a negative way of thinking. And you're settling into that this cannot work. Even though you're trying to still trade, you actually believe that it can't work, but you're still in there trying. And then it comes to the point where you're like, well, it doesn't work, and traders must be scammers, and mentors this and mentors that. That's settling in a way of thinking that is really, really lower in your standards. You're just giving up. Now, on the flip side to that, settling in trading is going to be one strategy, one method, one way of thinking, not blaming the platforms, not blaming outside influences when things go wrong, and being settled in that way of thinking to then propel you to the next level of where you need to get to. So trying to use this as an example, and I was speaking to my wife. My wife, since we moved back from Dubai, has never really been settled back in the UK. We came here for a few reasons, family, daughters, whatever it may be. And few things just wasn't right. So we had to return back to the UK. And she's never really settled back in the UK. We're from the UK. We're British, born and bred. And she's never really settled in, even though we've got a new house and the area that we lived is nothing like the areas that we grew up. And our son and my daughters live in nice places and things like that. Okay. But because she is so concentrated or fixated on moving on to wherever we want to move next, she's never really settled of where she is right now, which means, does she have gratitude in a way? And is she really experiencing the best version of herself? Probably not. Me, on the other end, I'm quite happy to settle where I am right now, but not settle in life. And I think this book and the message I'm trying to get across is whatever you're settling for, because you should be settling for something, it should be in this present moment to improve you to the next level. It shouldn't be to settle now and bring you down and your self-worth down and your trading down and your lack of belief in you becoming something in your life down because you're settling like the average person and everybody else. That's the dangerous settling. And if you settle that way, you're never going to make anything, never mind in trading. Whether it's your marriage or whatever it may be, it's not going to work. So what I want to say to you traders is this. If you're in the same place where you are 2-3 years ago, it actually means that you're probably settling for your environment of continuously to lose, or you have a fear factor of getting to that level that you need to get to. I work with a trader at the moment, and every time he gets in the green, fear kicks in. Every time he's in the red, he has no fear and just goes and gambles. So his belief system, he believes that he can't do this. Because if he's in the green, why would he have fear if he's in the green? You should have fear if you're in the red, if anything. So that's just something that as kind of came into my mind this week as I sit here, and I don't know if there's any deers behind me. There was some nice deers behind me. But settling at your present moment, but settle on one thing. Focus on the one strategy. Focus on the one asset. Focus on the one environment, the one time frame, and settle in that. And then what that's going to do, that's going to propel you to the next level. Because if you don't settle in that time frame, or you don't settle in that strategy, or you don't settle within that group or within that training period, you're going to jump from one thing to the other, and you're never going to get anywhere. You're never going to get anywhere if you don't do that. And I'm going to leave you on this one. It's something that I read in that chapter as well, in relation to when you get married. If you don't make that decision from a very, very early on when you get married, that you are now off the market, you're going to struggle because you're always going to be unsettled, and you're going to want something from your partner that maybe your partner cannot deliver at some point. So you're going to be comparing it or looking at other things. And eventually after 4 or 5 years, you might never have settled. But if you go into that with, right, this is the decision that I'm going to make for the rest of my life, and I'm now off the market, and you're settling in that relationship, you're not going to do whatever what you shouldn't be doing. And I just thought that was quite fascinating in relation to settling in what you're currently doing. Doesn't mean you're settling for life. It means that that's what's going to progress you to the next level. Now, I know it's a little bit of a different video, but I like to go deeper on this. And there is deeper, there's cognitive exhaustion, there is emotional exhaustion, and all those types of things that will come in why you're maybe not settling. But there's a lot more deeper issues of why you're not settling. So if you can just start to think, wait a minute, There's nothing wrong with settling, because I used to think there was. I used to speak to my children about don't settle for this and don't settle for that. When actually we're missing something here, that we should be settling for things, but we should be settling for things that are going to progress us moving forward. So again, hit the link if you want to jump in this webinar. Again, if we have loads of spaces, I'm going to up the ante. It's going to be on Tuesday, the 9th of September. But again, if you want to jump and work with me on a one-to-one basis, get you where you need to get that strategy, get that psychology, learn my way of trading, which is the precision stack system, the PSS, then again, hit the link below and I'll see you on that Zoom call.